Welcome to the Confidence Tea Podcast, where we brew up inspiration, self-discovery, and a sprinkle of empowerment, all over a cup of tea. Please welcome your host, Virginie Madiston. Virginie is a passionate advocate for personal growth and wellness, blending the art of tea with the journey of confidence. With a background in psychology, theology, and coaching, she believes every sip of tea can lead to a transformed mind, edified soul, and activated confidence. So get ready to steep yourself in uplifting conversations, insightful stories, and practical wisdom. Without further ado, here's your host of the Confidence Tea Podcast, Virginie Madiston.
Hello there. Welcome to Confidence Tea Podcast, where we steep ourselves in powerful conversations about self-belief and living your authentic life. I'm your host, Gigi, and I have an exciting show for you today. I am so thrilled that you've decided to join us on Confidence Tea. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And if it's just been a long time since you've tuned in, welcome. And so today we have a very special guest, and I'm so excited, but I don't want to ruin it. So if you are tuning in, let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. That way we can give you a shout out. And if you would like to be a guest on Confidence Tea, you can send us an email at confidenceteainfusions@gmail.com. That way we get a chance to have you on here so you can share your story. We would love to hear from you. I want to let you guys know that our Sip and Celebrate event is happening November the 30th at the Boca Dunes Golf and Country Club in Boca Raton, Florida. This is an event celebrating 8 years for Gigi Inc., which is a nonprofit confidence building organization for adolescent girls that I founded 8 years ago. And we are celebrating just 8 amazing years, and we will have some amazing youth in the house to share how they've their experience being a part of Gigi Inc. And we'll also have some amazing speakers, some amazing performances. You guys get to try Confidence Tea. We will have our very own Confidence Tea infusions, teas. That way you guys can actually get to try the different samples of tea. So tickets are on sale now. Tickets are $55. And you can get the tickets. I will post the link in this video. That way you guys can get a chance to come out, show us your support. If you would like to make a donation to Gigi Inc., you can do so on our website, gigiinc.org. Thank you guys so much. I hope I see you at our Sip and Celebrate event. So without further ado, I hope you have a nice warm cup of tea, because we're going to get ready to have this amazing conversation with Raymond, and I want to make sure I don't butcher his last name, Kalpakowski. And Raymond is a renowned relationship coach and expert on personal growth within partnerships. And so he's going to share today, and we're going to hear, he has a book. He's the author of Universal Guide to a Healthy, Selfish Relationship/Partnership, which offers an approach to creating a balance and fulfillment in relationships. So I'm so excited. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Raymond.
Fool me once.
Hey, how are you? I hope I didn't butcher your last name.
No. It is so difficult. I'm 74, and it took me almost the whole time to figure out how to say it myself. It's Kapakowski, but the Polish people say Kopakowski, because they want to act like they're special or something. Hey, I am really impressed with this Gigi Inc. And I that is amazing that you're doing this stuff with the girls. And when we talk about this, when we talk about my changes in the book, how I approach partnership, you're going to recognize that young people really need to know about this kind of thing, and young women in particular. There's so much in the book about empowering women so that the partnership can be successful, giving them strength, and an ability to stand because they're accepted as equals, because they want to be partners, and because they really have a good grasp on it to begin with.
Yes, I
you're
love that. I think it's
well,
very important.
and girls are taught from a very early age about being mommies and about having all this kind of stuff. And they really have a good insight on it, but, they get shut down all the time, or they're told that, even women buy the idea that they're crazy a lot of times. And it's not true. It's just a misunderstanding. Anyway, let's get
into it. Let's talk about now, why did you name this book Universal Guide to a Healthy, Selfish Part or Relationship, and you crossed that out, and then partnership? Can you show us the cover of the book? Because I thought that was just so profound.
Sure.
You have that.
Let me see if we can do that.
Yep, perfect. Yep, we can see it. That's great. So
is that it?
Got
okay.
it. Yeah. Tell us about that title and how you came up with that.
Well, a lot of the stuff that happened to me with this book happened as a result of years of working with people. I was a relationship coach first, and in relationships, I kept hearing a voice that, as I was giving out information, and the voice was saying to me, more than one. And I didn't understand what it was, and what I found out that it meant is that I had to write the book, and I had to get out to more than just one individual. During the times that I was working with relationships, I recognized that everybody, bar none, came to me wanting to learn how to fix what they did. And I kept saying, there's something wrong with this. Nobody ever asked me how not to do it. How do you treat each other well? How do you prevent these bad things from happening? And no one ever would say that or ask that kind of thing. And by the way, I never had young people coming when I was doing a relationship coaching. I never had anybody under 35. It was 35 and above, and people in disastrous relationships. And I used to tell people I pulled a gun out of people's mouths, and it was bad, but I knew something else was coming. And so I recognized, after a period, I started to recognize that partnership had something that relationships do not. And recognize that relationships had a husband and a wife, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and this type of thing. And the fact that it was two people coming into this to build a relationship was divisive, in my opinion.
Okay.
The idea about dealing with partnership, putting a partnership together, is it requires two equals, and one of them might be a man and one of them might be a woman. That's entirely up to men. I don't care what it is, but it is people first. And with partnership, it's partnership first and two people equals coming together to decide what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, how best to help each other do it for the sake of a good partnership.
I never thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense.
And the idea, people, when they first see the book and they see that relationship is crossed out, I want people to recognize that relationships have pretty much run their course. Our parents, our grandparents, they were able to have relationships, and it was a different time, and people really learned incredible ways of tolerating each other and keeping it together for the family, or staying together because,
they didn't want a divorce.
Yeah, this kind of thing. But they didn't stay together because they had tools that made it worthwhile staying together. They just stayed together. With the internet and all the information that we're getting, and people coming to the forefront. The women's movement has helped out a great deal. Men not being able to be that the breadwinner anymore. It doesn't work anymore. We need to come together. And I found that partnership, that was really a good way to do this. So the book. So people were kept looking at the relationship part of this, and I kept saying the important part of the cover was the healthy, selfish part. Do you understand that one?
Well, I mean, I can kind of grasp just healthy selfishness, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you elaborate on that more. Tell me what's the healthy
Okay.
selfish part.
Okay. So healthy selfishness is simple. I want to be happy.
Okay.
And that's when I work with people individually, or when I work with them, in their relationship. Is my first thing to tell them is, you need to do this because you want to be happy.
Mm.
That's going to be your focus. You can't do this because you're trying to make somebody else happy, and then that's going to make you happy. That's backwards, and it might not work. I want to be happy. And so what does that mean? That means that if I want to be happy with you, then I have to find out the things that you need, so that you feel complete, you feel important, you feel loved, you feel cared for, you feel like you're my equal. And then when you feel all those kinds of things, the likelihood is that you're going to be nicer to me, and we're going to be able to talk instead of fight and argue, and you trying to find your space in here. I'm going to do everything I can to make you the best partner that I can have, and I'm going to do it for me. It's going to look, when it's authentic, it looks like I'm doing it for you, because the fact is that I need to find out what you really need. If I assume, like most men do, most men assume that they know what a woman needs.
Yeah, they do.
That's what they've been taught, and then they go and they do all this kind of stuff because they don't know how to ask.
Uh-huh.
What do you need? And
What do
and
you like?
yeah, and it's not a thing about just capitulating and giving them everything that they want. Your partner, be it man or woman, it doesn't make any difference. If they say that they want it, then you can talk about whether that's feasible or not, whether we can do that. Is that going to help the partnership out? How are we going to, if we do it, how are we going to treat each other while we're doing it? So
Mm.
the whole idea about the graft, if I were to set up a graft about partnership, I would say, I'm here and I want to be happy. And what do I want? I want a partnership. I want a partnership. And then, so that means that if you want a partnership, you're down here with me.
Mm-hmm.
We're both focusing on the idea of being partners together. And that is the thing that's going to bring us individual happiness and success as partners.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
So
I would say that partnerships, traditionally, like business partnerships or whatever, are traditionally much more successful than that of relationships because of that thought process. Because you
sure.
don't go into a partnership um looking to fail. Like, you don't go into a partnership, you go in making sure that things are balanced, things are equal. I'm putting in my effort, they're putting in their effort, they're using their strengths, I'm using my strengths, and together we're going to accomplish this same common goal.
Yeah. And so a lot of this is modeled after a business, like a typical business would be, shoe store or a grocery store or something. It's modeled after that. But the difference between two people coming in that love each other is the amount of emotion that they bring to it. You don't see the same kind of emotion in
In a business.
a business in their room, the executive room where they're going to hash all this stuff out. But we bring emotions to this. We bring, a hurt and, and fears and insecurities and all that stuff. And the idea about the tools that you would need in developing a good partnership would be to recognize what a person's feeling and to say, yeah, I know I hurt you. I do. And I'm sorry I hurt you. So now, you recognize the hurt, you allow it to happen, you allow the feelings to do whatever they're going to do. And then you say, are you ready to talk about this? Because the talking about the hurt is not about the fact that you hurt somebody, because you already know that. The
Mhm.
talking about when somebody gets hurt is, what are we going to do about it now? How are we going to treat each other so it doesn't happen again? How are we going to, if we have problems with treating each other differently, how are we going to fix that so that we can talk about this and we can end up making a successful partnership?
Okay, I love that. Now, when it comes to communication, I know that communication is one of the areas in relationships that people have the biggest hurdles. So, how does looking at it from a partnership, like how do we, with a partnership, like how do we, what's some advice on that communication part that we struggle with
Okay,
so much?
okay, that's the big one. Everybody wants communication. Everybody, they really ought to talk to Webster about this one because communication, in my opinion, is the definition of it is entirely wrong. Entirely wrong. Can in inside a partnership, my communication is based on the one thing that I can control. And I can control whether I listen to you. I can't control whether you listen to me. So I'm going to say, okay, so listen, I need to hear what it is that you're saying. I need to make a safe space for you to talk about it. I need to know for you to know that I'm going to listen, and I need for you to know why I'm listening. I'm listening because I value you. I'm listening because you're important to me and I want to have a good partnership. So that's the reason that I'm going to listen to you. Okay. Like people come and they'll say, well, we do the 5 minute thing. One person gets 5 minutes to talk. The other person gets 5 minutes to talk. Nobody's listening when the 5 minutes are talking. They're talking. Everybody's like going, oh yeah, I've heard this before. And yeah, how long is this going to last? And yeah, it doesn't really mean it. And all the kinds of things that we assume when we allow somebody else to talk at us. And so I would say to everybody out there, learn how to listen and learn why it is that you're going to listen. Why am I going to listen to this person? And then set up time and say, okay, listen, if tell me when you're ready to talk.
Okay.
I'm not going to force you to talk at it. And this is one of the things that women have an issue with. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it now. Well, something, relax, and especially with men, we might not be absolutely ready to talk about it. We might be trying to figure out, or we might be getting our fear out of the way of women. So tell me when you're ready to talk, and then I'm going to hear what it is that you have to say. And
Okay.
I'd like to know plans as well. What kind of plans are we going to have that are going to make it any different?
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Now we know that conflicts are inevitable in relationships and partnerships, but what are some practices that we can kind of, so in order to, I guess, lower the amount of conflicts or mitigate
Did
those
you,
conflicts?
did you do your homework? You did your homework. Yeah, these questions are wonderful. Okay, so first, let me tell you that issues are never important.
Okay.
That issues always point to a problem, that negativity exists because negativity is an opportunity and it's not negativity that's supposed to stay that way. So
Okay.
if you understand that to begin with, then you can look at something that has happened that is bad. Now you would consider it negative, and you would say, well, how do we get over this, and how do we get through it, and push it under the rug and wait until it's all over? It's a waste of time. Don't do that. If somebody hurts you, then try and figure out what it is that you're going to get out of it that's going to make it worthwhile. If you're going
Hmm.
to hurt me, then and all I do is forgive you and forget about it, then the likelihood is I'm going to get hurt again.
Hmm.
But if we say here's an opportunity, this really hurt, let's figure out how not to do this and why we're not going to do this, and how would I see this coming next time? What would I know about this that we can look at this and say, wow, okay, you hurt me, but guess what? It was worthwhile. Now we're closer.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
talk better to each other. We listen to each other. We showed each other how much the partnership meant. We showed each other that we don't want to risk that partnership. Those are very loving things, and they all happen as a result of negativity.
Of this. Okay.
And
Because
on,
I've seen in some cases, for example, like I've seen in relationships where there's infidelity or something happens, and
yeah,
that infidelity, and if the two people take that infidelity and they sit down, they talk about it, and they overcome an obstacle. I
Yeah.
see that later on, they are in fact closer together, right? That, if they decide to work it out and stick it through, as a result of that infidelity, sometimes they realize what the issue was. Maybe one person was feeling neglected, or
Boy.
whatever the situation was, but they use that event or that crutch or that thing that could have been catastrophic, but turned it into something where now they have a relationship that they can both be proud of, and they're closer together and better
Yeah.
for it.
I love women. I'm telling you, this is great. Okay, so there was a point where what happens to me is because I guess because I'm Polish or something like that, that things have to happen 3 or 4 times for me to get it. And so there was a period of time that probably 70 or 80% of the clients that I was seeing at that point had some type of infidelity.
Okay.
And so I knew that, I was supposed to learn a bunch of stuff from it. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize that what we miss, we always go to the person that got cheated on and say, oh, you poor baby, and blah, blah, blah. We never talk about the person that cheated and what they were missing and how long they were suffering as a result of this kind of thing. What drove them out?
Mm-hmm.
Where was it a fear of intimacy? Were they cheated on before? Did they see people fall apart? What is it that's happening there? And I got to a point where is joking, of course. I got to a point where I felt like saying, so you want to come and see me? You want to do some sessions? Have you cheated? You haven't cheated? Go out and cheat first, and then come on back here, and we'll fix you up.
No.
And of course, it's a joke, but it is also if there's anything that happens that is the make it or break it thing, it's infidelity. People are taught that all the time. You cheat on me, we're done. We're finished. No coming back from that. And it's not true. It's not true. Everybody that comes to me that is in a relationship that suffered some kind of infidelity has said that. I'm not forgiving. I'm not forgetting that kind of thing. You don't have to forgive. You don't have to forget. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you not to. You're supposed to gain from it. You're supposed to learn the stuff that you need to learn. And if you forgive and you forget, you won't learn the stuff that you need to learn. Don't let go of it, learn from it and find out about each other and protect the partnership, protect it, don't risk it. Don't let anything pass.
And that's true what you said about just, I guess, like from my perspective, is taking responsibility. Like if that partner, that other person cheated, because 9 times out of 10, we always do cast the blame on that person cheated. And then we go to the other person. Oh, woe is you. Like, oh my gosh, poor you. But then sometimes it's really the contrary. The person that cheated, it's almost like they were dealing with so many obstacles before it even led to that. So you have to almost question what led them to that decision. What made it so that they felt like this is what they needed to do or what they ended up doing, So that's very good point that we need to
a lot of men, when when they really get down to it, they say, I wanted somebody to talk to. And that tells you a huge amount between the relationships and how women talk to men and how men talk to women, and how we just miss the whole thing. Women have a tendency to talk to men like they're talking to their girlfriends. They have expectations that men are going to be able to understand the way their girlfriends understand. We don't. And men from a very early age are taught that women are crazy. You can't talk to them. You can't win an argument with them. They never forget anything, and this type of stuff. So who the hell wants to talk to somebody when that's the way that you think about them? And all of that stuff becomes once you start to understand the partnership concept, all of that stuff that we have that puts us at odds are really miraculous, wonderful things that we can both contribute to a partnership. They're fantastic, but we don't even know that they exist. World's changing.
Yes, it is.
You
Yes,
know,
it is.
world's
Um,
changing.
I have another question. So, how can you have your partners, two partners, still maintain their individuality while still trying to foster a bigger connection? Because I think what happens a lot of times in relationships, and because I deal with women in confidence and all the time, is they've invested so much into that relationship and they kind of lose the sense of self and their
Sure.
own individuality, especially when they transition and let's say that person is no longer there or the relationship doesn't work out, then they just feel like I don't even know who I am because I've given everything into this relationship. So while fostering connection in relationships is important, how does one maintain that individuality?
I think it's important that and that's part of the listening that you get from partnership is that I need to know what makes my partner tick. I need to know, what is it that she needed? What does she want? What's, what her dreams are? Are those things something that we could work at together? I want her to feel like, like she's important to me and what she wants and um, and then we talk about those things and we see how viable they are, or we just put everything aside and help you get it. You know, I want my partner to be as whole and as complete as possible, and I want her to, yeah, I mean, women are brought up with these ideas about they're going to be a mother, they're going to be this, and it has all changed. A great deal of it has changed, but the ideas behind it, maybe those haven't changed. Women can do remarkable amounts of things and accomplish a whole lot of stuff, but when push comes to shove, do we let them? Is that feasible that's going to happen? And men are in situations like they'll go out and they get a job and they're making money. And what do you mean you're not happy? That's you got a
Mhm.
job. You're bringing in the money. Yeah, well, I'm not happy. Well, you know what? You're not supposed to be happy. You're supposed to work and you're supposed to bring in money and you're supposed to do all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of really unhappy people out there.
Yes, there
Yeah.
is.
And if you don't like your job, if you want to be happy and you don't like your job, you might be able to change jobs, of course. You might be able to do whatever it is that you want to. But if you're stuck in that job and you have the backing of your partner telling you, listen, I know that you don't like it. I appreciate you doing this. I know that you're stuck doing this. I love you. I care about you. Come to me and we'll make it comfortable for you. No, I have your back. You can go to a lousy job knowing that somebody has got your back and that you're loved and that you're a partner and that inside the partnership, you've decided that at the moment it's important that you do the job. So
Mhm.
you would have a different thing to focus on rather than simply being stuck.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that. How do you think like relationships will progress in the next, 20 years? Like, do you think more people are going to adopt this mindset, or do you think that we'll still be kind of stuck where we are now?
I think it's going to change. I think it's going to have some kickback, but I do think it's going to change a great deal. Like I said, children, God. I'm getting kids that are 18, 19 years old coming and they don't want what their parents had. They don't want what they see on television. They're asking for something different. They're asking for tools about relationships. When I mention partnership to them and explain just a little bit about partnership, their eyes light up. You know,
Mm,
so the partnership thing is not just about being in a loving relationship with somebody. It is really something that permeates across every area of humanity. If I'm going to be happy in my partnership with a person that I love, in order to do that, I've got to make sure that in a sense I'm partners with the world. I want to care for everybody. I want to do all this kind of stuff because they can have an influence on my happiness. If I'm lousy to some people, or if I put people down or do anything like that, and they're upset with me, it's going to affect my happiness, and then it's going to affect my happiness inside the partnership. I see this idea permeating, universally, that it's ready, that people are ready to hear this. And even more so than being ready, they really need to hear it. There's a lot of people out there, when I talk to them the first time about this, they're like, I've never heard this before. I've never heard this happen. I don't know that it's me. I think that it's the universe. I think that we're ready as human beings, to start to change some of this, and to
I think so
recognize that,
too.
yeah, seriously, we're really ready for this.
Yeah.
So Janet keeps asking me, my honey, she says, but how long is it going to take? I say, I don't know, a few thousand years.
Well, I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so we've been, I would say, struggling with relationships from the beginning of time. So I think that
Right.
it's time for us to look at a different approach, look at a different perspective, and see how we can just be better at doing relationships.
We really do need that. I mean, across the board, everybody, we're all human beings first, and all that other stuff is such bull. It's the things that divide us are so stupid. And so we're all people on the planet. We're all connected. We all want to be happy. We all want to be loved. What's the problem? And again, the problem is all these people that want to control it and want to have power and want to have money. And I think that there's a whole lot more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
And
Do you think it's important for people that are in relationships, partnerships, we're using those two words interchangeably. Do you think it's important for them to have shared, shared passions, shared ideas? Because you know how sometimes they say
No.
opposites attract, or, so like, how does that, I guess, impact the success of the relationship?
No, I think that bringing different things to a relationship, is really cool. I mean, we're very different. Me and my honey are extremely different, and I think that we joke around and say if we were ever on one of those love shows, we'd be the last two that they connected, And but we do very well with the differences that we have,
Okay.
and it's about learning about somebody, and really, my dedication to partnership makes me want to know more about something and somebody that I don't know about, that is different than me.
And that's
So
true, because it would be quite boring if you know yourself, and then you have the person that's exactly like you,
mhm.
like there would be no research. There'd be no point in finding things
Yeah.
out or discovering something new.
The last thing I would want to do is be in a relationship with a woman that has gray hair and a gray beard. That's I don't think that would not appeal to me. Yeah, maybe the
Me
gray
neither. Me
hair.
neither. I wouldn't want somebody that's exactly like me either, because sometimes I'm like, okay, you're too much.
Sure.
Yeah.
But where I was going with that is that, for us to be different, and for me to accept and to honor that, and for me to work towards helping you be the best you that you can be, it really does show us our commitment to the partnership and to each other and to the things that we want. I want to be in this brings up trust. I think that trust is mislabeled. I think that people trust each other for their own comfort. I think that inside a partnership, when you see somebody over and over again working to protect the partnership because they love you, because they value who you are, and because they're not going to risk losing what it is that they want, I think that that's where trust should start.
Okay, I like that. I really like that.
Uh,
Oh my goodness, the time has just flown by. We've been talking. I can talk to you forever, Raymond, because you have so much knowledge and just so much wisdom on
Thank you
this
so
stuff.
much.
This has been amazing.
I,
Um,
I really hope your people love it, and I love them, and this is such a cool thing. I'm going to keep
yeah,
an eye on this Gigi Inc. thing too. I
yeah,
think that's
absolutely,
helping young girls
absolutely.
so cool.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. And and definitely we would love to have you and maybe do something with the young girls talking about this type of stuff because they definitely need it as well. It's important that we teach them now so that by the time they are ready to embark on relationships, they know,
Yeah,
they have some tools going in. So
yeah,
definitely I'll definitely connect with you more on that. That way we can have that for you. But I would
sounds good.
like for you to give us a final piece of advice for those who may just be starting out on a partnership or those who are already in partnerships and want to make sure that those partnerships are stronger. Like, what's something you can, tell us about just doing that?
At least one time, look at everything that you've been taught and decide for yourself whether it's good for you or not. And then do it with love in your heart, and do it with the idea that this is going to make you happy. And so you want to be able to give that out. You want to be able to love other people. And that's with your own happiness, that's a good way to go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Let us know. So, where can we find your book? Because that book
Yeah, okay,
seems like
Universal
an
Guide.
interesting read.
It is Amazon, Kindle. It's everywhere. You can't buy it in a bookstore. They don't have that in a bookstore right now. But anywhere that you can get books, and it's available in paperback and ebook and that type of thing. I'd appreciate it if you bought it and gave me a little bit of review. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. Universal Guide to a Healthy, Selfish Relationship Crossed Out Partnership.
there you go. That's good. And I am available right now for sessions. If anybody's thinks that I might be able to help them out, feel free. Get in touch with me at ray.innerpower@gmail.com. That's ray.innerpower@gmail.com. I'd be glad to help you out, give you a good talking to. There you go.
Absolutely. Now, are you on social media at all?
I've got a bunch of stuff there, but I don't understand it because I'm old. I've got like Facebook and Instagram, and you just look Ray Kupikowski or Kupikowski Ray, and I'll pop up different places. I'm doing
Okay.
I'm doing a TikTok right now that I started up, and it's a Q&A. So that's real cool. You can come in, and I've got some Zoom things in the works too. I'm going to be
Okay.
doing those shortly.
We got to look you up, Ray. We got to find you and stick to you, and maybe we'll help you navigate that social media, because I'm telling you that stuff is so good. You can connect with some amazing people, just kind
Yeah.
of how I connected with you. So thank
That
you
was cool.
so much.
I watched you get this thing set up, and I went, I'm glad she's doing it.
Well, thank you
And,
so much, and thank you for just being a guest. And we definitely got to get you back on, because I mean, there was
thanks,
just
sir.
so much to unpack, and I know that
I
we
please.
definitely can go for hours. So we have to get you back and maybe do another episode and really unpack this thing, because I think a lot of people need to know about, just, you know having that healthy, selfish partnership. So
There you go.
absolutely,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much. I,
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate how you handled all this. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ray. I look forward to chatting with you more. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Confidence Tea. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode with Ray and myself. And so I look forward to connecting with you. Until next time, I love you. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.